Chairman and Chief Operating Officer of the Hyperloop Transportation Technologies. My team called me Chief Bibop Officer. So I don't know for you guys if it's the same, but for me, transportation is broken. So if you analyze what's happening in our city, people are piling up, and we are building city horizontally, and cities like Shanghai are basically sinking onto itself. And it's happening everywhere in the world, even in Venice or somewhere else. If you analyze the traffic that we are building up, and we're building more roads, and the more road we build, the more cars are in this road. So at the end of the day, I think we will all die by our own pollution. That's how we will end up. But we think we have a better solution. To analyze our future, we should look at our past, right? So I will want to bring you to the past, and it's the year 1870, and a very courageous company called California Pneumatic Transit started to build something that it will become the New York subway. And it was a train inside a vacuum, like the system that we are building right now. And it was, if you look at the historic images, it was pretty comfortable, right? But after a year, they basically went bankrupt. They didn't have the technology to build that. In 1904, a famous inventor, Robert Goddard, tried to do the same. Again, there was a train inside a tube, and it was supposed to connect New York to San Francisco. And he was claiming to be able to arrive at 300 kilometers per hour. There were studies about how human beings can die at that speed at that time. So there was a lot of naysayers. In 1969, the American government published a document inside Popular Science through John Volpe. It was the Ministry of Transportation, very famous guy at the time, and he was disclosing 4 secret travel systems. They were actually very similar to the Hyperloop. So, and the imagination of people went on and on. We've seen, the Jetsons. Inside the Simpsons, there was a similar Hyperloop-like transportation system. Even Disney designed something in the 60s that was very similar. So when Elon Musk, the billionaire genius, came out with the idea to build something like the Hyperloop, and he named it the Hyperloop, he was too busy in SpaceX, Tesla, and Solar City, and he said, I cannot build it. So whoever wants to build it, just pick it up and do it. So how I get involved in this project is very funny, because I was in a complete different environment. I started up when I was really young as a child prodigy. I was an hacker, and at 14 became a developer for a multinational company, but my passion was music. So I created a record, it hit the first place in the chart, and then I started all of a sudden of touring Europe, singing and dancing. And during my career, I did 20 records and 6 #1. They offered me a job in MTV, I accepted, I was hosting shows, was fun. But my knowledge about money was very scarce, because I wasn't making a lot of money, and I need to make money to live, right? So I started to think, yes, famous is good, but I should make some money, right? So I created my first company. It was called Bibop, and it was basically putting together all my knowledge. I was doing internet, in video, and combined together, I created the biggest community that I sold for a lot of money for a telco company. With that money, I started to invest in startups. I created 68 startups, 3 of them brought it in the IPO. It was a dream come true. But Italy was too small for me, so I moved to America in search of something bigger. I wanted to change the world. So I was in a meeting, and a friend of mine introduced me to a very interesting guy. It was a German, big guy, tall. It seems a giant, but it's in reality is like a teddy bear. It's very, very friendly. And he started to speak to me in Italian. Hey, ciao, come stai? Allora cosa vogliamo fare? And I was like surprised about his knowledge of Italian. And he was starting to explain to me, you know, when Elon published the idea, I took the idea, published in my site, and I am crowdfunding it. I'm crowdsourcing it. And I was, what? What? Yeah, basically I put together this document inside my site and ask whoever wants to join, I will give stock option to everyone that wants to participate. And what happened, I have 200 people working for me. I was like, what? So, yeah, but these guys will be students, right? No, they were the biggest and smartest people in the planet. Scientists from every industries, NASA, Tesla, SpaceX, Boeing, the smartest mind came together and said, we want to do it, we want to help out. And also big companies started to contribute. Microsoft gave software, ANSYS gave computing power, and then Amazon, and the list goes on and on. So Dirk Alborn, my business partner, we became partners in 2014, and we started to work at what it is now, the most advanced transportation system. Jumpstart was the start of everything. It's a crowdsourcing site, but it's more than that. We are demonstrating that we can solve the biggest problem in the planet by putting together the best people. All around here, there's probably the smartest people in this region. And if we come all together, we can solve a lot of problems. And then start to think what we can do if we multiply this human power for 10 times, 100 times, 1 billion times. That's what's happening right now, and that's a way to solve humanity's problem. What's the Hyperloop? It's very easy. There's a capsule. Inside the capsule, there are 28 people, and we levitate this capsule inside the tube. We vacuum the tube in a way that we are simulating the same atmosphere that you have above 200,000 feet. So basically, we are doing exactly the same that the airplane does when they are above the sky. There's no resistance. So the lack of resistance allows you to move the capsule at almost the speed of sound. That's as simple as that. So we built the system using a compressor in front. So the compressor is able to suck air and to push it on the back. So the residual air that is inside the tube is basically sucked up and pushed on the back. It's not that complicated. And as you see, there's no resistance inside the tube. So we can go fast with very few energy. This is the key. Because, you know, the other system are, yes, levitating, but the energy that you require to move the train, for example, in a high-speed rail is too much. That's why we are more efficient than any other system. We use renewable energy. And not only renewable like the sun, we're also looking at an holistic way to use wind, to use kinetic energy inside the tube. So the wind itself that there is inside the tube is generating electricity, and we can harvest this electricity and basically be more efficient. We also use regenerative braking. What does it mean? We consume energy while we accelerate, but we can recoup energy while we brake. And in climates that solar is not that efficient, we can use geothermal. So we are able to produce more electricity than we consume. It's amazing. So we have a system that actually can sell energy to the grid. Now, if you look on how we build the structure, it's built on pylon. The reason why we do this is very simple. Pylons are earthquake efficient. It means that we can resist the earthquake above 8.0 Richter scale. And this system was there since the 80s. You know, we built pipelines all over the world and already demonstrated that this system are the strongest and the better way to develop, because the footprint that we have on the ground is very minimal. We have 5 foot per 6. So the landowners are very happy. For us, a pylon is an ecosystem. So we are looking at new ways to develop this as be able to nest birds, animals, reproduce plants, and also clear the air. We're able to absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen. So the people living around there are breathing better air. When we're talking about a system like this, we have to consider how we build the inside, because the experience that the people has to feel doesn't have to be claustrophobic or like feeling enclosed into a jail laying down. So we have designed the capsule in a way that's very similar to an airplane, but we can't build windows because of the dynamic shape of the capsule. But human eyes looks at 120K, the definition that we see. In reality, above 15K, we already tricked. We cannot distinguish reality. So what we do is we put screens at 15K and more, and we are able to show you outside, or maybe if you want to travel in another place, you can select it, or you want to travel in the future or in the past, we can do that. So the entertainment experience will be one of a kind. The system is basically done in a way that is frictionless. So all the very broken things, I don't know you guys, when you are in the airport, it sucks. There's so many things broken. I mean, you go there, you wait forever, there's a line, and they check you. And we discovered that all these checks doesn't really are effective, because if you want, you can literally, bring some very bad things out there. So what we have done is completely different. From the moment the capsule arrives to the station, the capsule is composed of two elements. So the outer shell detach, and the inner shell is able to go to your pod. And the pod is the arrival place where people can disembark. Of course, we pass through an airlock, so the pressure goes down in 15 seconds and you're able to disembark. And the capsule proceeds, and it's able to basically be ready to re-embark people seamlessly. And the experience that you have to experience is not the one that you have in the airport right now. I don't know you, but I feel like in a military system, after I pass the check-in, I feel like I'm inside something that it's a bubble that I cannot exit. In our system, it's frictionless. You enter, there's a passive scan that analyzes all around you and the atoms that you are emitting, so we're able to do passive scanning, and we stop only the people that are not bringing what we like and we consider safe. And the general experience that you have is very comfortable. You come there, you have 7 minutes to load inside the capsule. If you don't take this capsule, there's another one. So we conceive it as easy as the Hyperloop concept itself. We are departure 28 people every 30 seconds. It means we are able to depart 3,400 people an hour. It means 67,000 people a day, 24 million people a year with one tube. We are able to substitute the entire flight market from Los Angeles to San Francisco 4 times. The concept that we are building, it's also very efficient, not only in terms of energy consumption, but also in terms of how to build it. A normal high-speed rail, it costs too much. It's not a business, and it's not efficient, even in economic terms. Let's take, for example, the Los Angeles-San Francisco. Okay, they are planning to spend $68 billion, and they're already $2 billion over, and they haven't hit the ground. We've seen this over and over, right? And they are not profitable. The energy that they have to use for superconductivity, like the high-speed rail, is too expensive. Our system, it will be less than 10 billion, so 6 times less. And guess what? Why we are more efficient is very simple. If you analyze the industry of rail, it's a dinosaur. Why? Because it's based on a technology that it's ancient. I'm not joking. So I want to introduce you to a concept that is very known in the rail system. It's called standard gauge. So the entire way to build rails in the world is based on the fact the distance between rails has to be 1.435 meters, so 1 meter and 435 centimeters between one rail and another. Why? Why 70% of the rail are built like that? If you augment this gap between the two rails of 40 centimeters, you can transport more people, but also more freight, almost the double, just 40 centimeters. Why they are not doing it? Because they don't need it. Every single rail system, high-speed rail, is financed by the state. So they don't need to innovate. So how are we doing this? I was mentioning you the crowdstorming part. This is the part that now I got more passionate, because it's amazing what's happening. If you analyze what we created, right now, we have a community of 20,000 people coming from 21 different countries. People came together to help us out, to figure out how to solve the biggest problem. So we have 420 people right now working for us in exchange of stock options. And they have to work at least 10 hours a week, and we give them in exchange one stock for every hour worked. And guess what? They are growing and growing at a speed that it's incredible. So when I was financing startups, usually people come to me and say, I need money. I say, okay, what do you need it for? I have to build a website. I say, okay, so you don't need money. You probably need a programmer, you need a graphic designer, you need people that helps you out to build it. So what I was suggesting is that, especially at the beginning, you don't need money, you need people. You need people that are passionate and can help you out to build the best system with you. And that's what we are doing right now. And we are growing so fast. We have 5 new applications a day. And sometimes 2 days ago was in the CCTV. And only that day we received 100 requests from China, and amazing people. So we haven't raised any money yet, because first we were interested on demonstrating that we were able to build it. But now we're gonna build it, and we are raising money. And 400 accredited investors asked to put money inside the company. And it's amazing. Even the team, when they join the team, they have a special field where we say, do you wanna have skin in the game? Just put some money in exchange of stocks. And the total amount of committed money are $7 million. That is amazing, because people are working with the passion and with the willingness to participate. And also landowners are starting to give us land. And in the place that I will show you in a second, there's a builder that donated $12 million of right-of-way in perpetuity. This is amazing, and we used a system called CrowdStorm. It's like a brainstorming, but basically you do it with crowd. So we asking all kind of things, like, for example, you know, how do you do this, or how do you solve this problem, or questions like, do we need a ticket? But not only do we need a paper ticket, we ask things like, you know, does it has any meaning to ask for a ticket? Ticket is something of the 18th century, right? So I have the full attention for 35 minutes of a person inside the capsule. There should be a better way to monetize these users. And guess what? 10 new ways of monetizing the user came out from there. And imagine if you are inside the capsule and you want to be active, there's probably your knowledge can be useful for someone else. And maybe someone is also willing to pay you for that. So imagine instead of paying a ticket, you're able to earn money while traveling. This is a disruption. And we are completely redefining the way we think about transportation. Not only people join the team, there are big companies now. We have the biggest engineering company in the world, AECOM. We have the inventor of the vacuum pump, the one that created the CERN accelerator particle in Geneva. We have Amazon. We have people that donated software, clouds, and the number of these companies are increasing more and more. From the crowdstorming came out also this map. This shows the route that people want in America. It was surprising to us to see, for example, that the less expected cities will be the one that people want the Hyperloop most. It was funny, when we published this, there was some little cities in the map, like Albuquerque, and we ended up 3 times in the news. People were saying, oh my God, Albuquerque will be the center of the Hyperloop in America. It was funny. But what it shows also, it's the way we see the Hyperloop. It's a metro system that will connect cities in a subcontinental way. But if we solve the problem of moving people from point A to point B, very fast, and then you take 2 hours to go to the station, we haven't solved anything, right? So you need a system that allows you to also resolve the last mile. So we see the Hyperloop as a new way to conceive transportation. You push a button, and then a self-driving car, a taxi, an Uber, whatever you choose, picks you up, brings you to the local Hyperloop station, and then from the Hyperloop station, you go to the main station, and from the main station to destination, everything in 50 minutes. Now you can go 2 times from Beijing to Shanghai in little more than 1 hour, 1 hour and 10 minutes. And that would be amazing, because you can basically go and eat in Shanghai, in Beijing 2 times in the same day. Or we say the more we shrink the world, the more the human heart becomes big, because you can reunite families. You can see your girlfriend that it's maybe in Beijing and you're in Shanghai, or see your parents. This will change us forever. I think this will be better. And yeah, I can see from your eyes that you're excited, but when it will be, when we will be able to ride in the Hyperloop? In 50 years, right? No, I have a good news. We're going to build it. We're starting to build it this year. We're filing the permission of build in a very special place. It's in California. It's called Quay Valley. A builder is going to transform a little piece of desert into the best city of the 21st century. It's very futuristic, but very feasible. It's a sustainable city. It will have 20,000 houses. It will have amusement parks, resorts. It will have the most advanced technologies to build that. And guess what? We will be the transportation system for this city. We are along the 5, one of the most trafficked highway in California. It will be 8 kilometers. We can't go at the full speed of 1,275 kilometers per hour, but we will be going fast enough to test amazing speeds. We're talking about 600, 700 kilometers per hour without the passenger. It will be a very, very brutal stop. But while you ride, you will be able to see all the features of the Hyperloop. We will be able also to test all the passenger handling. We are expecting 10 million people inside this installation. So the world can be a better place if we all together, we join to solve the biggest problem of humanity. We are not creating a company, we are creating a movement. And we would like to have all the brightest mind to join our team. What happens when the best geniuses, the best engineers, the best and brightest mind in the planet comes together to solve one problem? They solve it. Thank you.